you're putting in the 40 or the 50-hour week and you are coming home and you're too tired to even play with your children or interact with your wife because the job is hard, man, you need to find out a way to do something different. You need to find a way to replace that income by working for yourself. And I know it's scary. I know it's difficult if you've never had your own business, but you got to do it, man. These employers, these companies, they don't care for you. They're just going to use you and use your body and wear you out and spit you out. They have no allegiance to you whatsoever and shame you and make you feel bad if you don't work overtime. And I assure you, the moment you're inconvenience them and whatsoever, they're going to throw you out. Now, there are rare exceptions with smaller businesses, but for most places, they don't care about you. The only person that's going to care about you is yourself. You need to figure out a way. It's never been easier. There are more resources now than anything. Just the bookkeeping alone can be handled usually by your wife can help you with that. She can get into Quicken and take a few online classes. There's a lot of resources out there. There's a lot of people showing how to do stuff. But just God wants you to have a life that you enjoy. Now, I'm not talking prosperity doctrine here, but I'm just talking to have free time, to do the things that you want to do, to not just have to live for the weekends, where you can just call your own shots. You'll find that you probably end up working more, but it's okay because half of that work might be in your robe on the couch, doing some computer work or doing some billing or doing some estimating, whatever it is, or maybe you can even involve your children with it. That's the way it's supposed to be. Keep your family together as much as possible. One of the most effective things that the adversary has done to tear down the family is to separate us. Sun Tzu says, the conquer and divide. That has always been, or divide and conquer, divide and conquer. That's always been a very sound military strategy for dealing a strong group or a strong army. You take the wife out of the home. You put her out into the workforce. You take the children out of the home, away from the good influence of the two people the only two people that care about them is you and your wife. Plug them into a government indoctrination program that is going to do everything it can to turn your kids against you. And then you're out in the workforce and all of that. You're weak. You're divided and you're weak. The temptations that could come upon you when you're on a business trip at the hotel. I worked on the road for a job as a construction superintendent 9-10 months out of the year, living in hotels. Now, I was a single guy at the time, but I worked with a lot of guys that weren't. And I saw exactly what takes place and took place at the hotel bars when the husband or the wife is away from their spouse. I know there's no oversight. No one really knows what's going on. It is a terrible situation to put yourself into. I would avoid at all costs putting yourself in that situation. Most people just can't handle it. And temptations will be there that you may not be able to resist, that will not be there if you're together as a family unit, if you're there together with your wife. So it's destructive to your family to be out 60 hours a week, 50 hours a week. Your kids are growing up, being raised by other people. I know not everyone has the option, and people say, well, it's easy for you to say, but we made these conscious efforts. So don't tell me about sacrifice. I and my wife and I made sacrifices for our children because we understood the importance of homeschooling them. Would you be able to give up your wife, if your wife had a job that was making $150,000 a year, would you be able to just say, why don't you just quit and start raising our kids? Would you be able to give that up without a second thought, without making a sacrifice? Because we did. I did that. So don't tell me, you can look at me now in my current situation and say, oh, easy for you, we're out here struggling. I know about struggling. I understand struggling. I get it. But I focused my mind on what it was that I wanted to accomplish. My wife focused her mind on that. We got in harness together, we pulled together, and we're in a better position now. We made this happen, and you can make this happen too. So if you want to fail in life, if you want to, the absolute guaranteed recipe is to have a pity party and start making excuses why you can't do something. I won't have any excuses. Can't, The word can't is not even in our vocabulary. From the time our children, when they were tiny, if ever that word was uttered out of their mouth, both of us stopped it immediately. I stopped them and said, can't is not even in our vocabulary. We don't even say that. We focus on things, what we want to do, and we make them happen. And you do the right thing. You follow the golden rule. You be a kind, compassionate, and honest person. Be honest in your business dealings the best you can. Do and honor God in all things that you do. He wants you to have the freedom where you can be around and influencing your own children and being around your wife. You can do it. You can do it. I did it. I came from nothing. No one gave me nothing. I had to get everything. I've been homeless. I get it. I could have made a decision to be on the streets and be a heroin addict. I could have made that decision. I have friends that turned that way and are now in prison and dead. So it could happen. So I don't want to hear any pity parties. You decide what it is that you want, and you get your wife on board, and you resolve to do it, and it will happen. And think about it. Concentrate it. Negativity, pissing and moaning and pity parties is a sure way to never accomplish anything.